Welcome to episode 46 of the Last Row podcast. My name is Drew, and I'm joined by my very good friend across the room, Mr. Badway.
Hello.
What's going on, Badway?
Sitting here in your basement, and I see these boxes of old toys and hockey cards.
It's a good day.
And I kind of just want to not do this podcast and just play with the toys.
You want to look up the Paul Coffey hockey cards, the Chris Chelios trading cards?
You got Batmobiles and Batmans and freaking Street Sharks.
Very recently, cleaned out my aunt's basement. Lots of great stuff. Sega Genesis Batman Returns. Great Sega games.
There's a Street Shark just staring me in the face as I'm doing this. Like, how am I supposed to focus? You know?
Between that, the old Game Boy manuals, Game Gear, video game manuals.
I want to read the controls for Chakan.
One of the dumbest games ever made, by the way. Yeah. But before we get into it, this is the Last Row Podcast. As I mentioned, this is episode 46. Our website is thelastrowpodcast.com. We are on Twitter at thelastrowpod. I mentioned previously on some of the other shows, if we have a week off, Twitter's the best way to find out about it. Lots of fantasy football going on right now, so our recording schedule's been a little bit sporadic. Couple sicknesses, couple children here. Facebook.com/thelastRowPod, Google+. Head out to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. Thank you to everybody that's taken the time to do so. I'm excited to be back, Badway, talking about some good stuff today.
Well, yeah, it got me thinking about Game Gear.
Game Gear?
And game manuals in particular. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but are game manuals only to be exclusively read while on the toilet?
Listen, when you were going there, I knew you were going there. It's the perfect bathroom routine.
That's not acceptable to read the game manual anywhere else but on the toilet,
because
right?
when you're a kid, right, let's say how old are you when you had these game manuals? When you 10, 12 years old?
Yeah.
You need something to read in the bathroom. You don't have Maxim as a kid.
No.
You don't have FHM as a kid. You don't have Sports Illustrated.
No.
You know, maybe you had it.
Maybe you had
didn't.
Sports Illustrated for kids.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or you got what is it, that Life magazine? Or what's the one that they have? Highlights. Not Life. That's like the total opposite of that. Highlights magazine. You know, the thing that they have at the dentist's office for kids, you got to do the selections.
Riddled with germs.
No, it's the perfect bathroom reading material.
Yeah, of course. And now, obviously, they don't make them like they used to, as we say, right?
Right.
They don't. There aren't more such thing as game manuals.
No, you have a blank picture or a piece of paper.
Yeah.
They don't even put DVD chapters in the Blu-rays anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, right.
No, but now when you go to the bathroom, are you using your phone to look up old game manuals? You looking up the PDFs?
That's a great idea.
You can look up any game you want.
Yeah. Like you go to the fighting games and you get the backstory of all the guys.
You got to look up Primal Rage.
Yeah, right.
So what are the special moves to Reptile in Mortal Kombat 2 for Super Nintendo?
So bring back the game manuals, all right, people.
Listen, man, they don't make them like they used to.
All right. Speaking of don't making them like they used to, this episode is going to be largely focused on the very phenomenal pilot episode of Amazon series' Jean-Claude Van Johnson, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to give you the top 5 reasons why this should be picked up and be a full season and hopefully on for 10 seasons and it becomes a classic. And then we're going to end the episode talking about the brand new 50 Shades of Darker?
50 Shades Darker.
I don't even know the title.
51 Shades of Grey.
Well, one of our personal favorite episodes of the past was our 50 Shades of Grey episode.
Just in time for Valentine's Day 2015.
So it just so happens the day that we're recording this, the new trailer for the brand new sequel dropped. So we watched it and we're going to go back and analyze it. So I think we're going to have some fun with that. And whatever else we get into, we might talk more about bathroom reading material in the middle.
I'll have to go through some of these game manuals here. Well, I have to go take them. I'll put them in the bathroom on the magazine.
I'm on the can right now, so.
You can't see everybody, but he's in the other room. You know, the door's closed.
Let's not make it a video podcast.
No. I'm very excited. Finally had the chance to watch this thing. And can I tell you, someone sent it to us on Twitter. Thank you for recommending the show. It was as good as advertised.
Yeah, it was so good on so many levels. I didn't know what to expect from it, but we're going to run down the reasons why it should be picked up. And I don't know, let's just dive right into it, right?
Yeah,
rather than gush over it.
So the background of the show basically is Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's the whole reason he's kind of self-aware now, right? The whole show is that he's an actor, but it follows his real life. I'm using air quotes here.
Yeah,
his real life.
He plays himself.
But he also has this alter, basically, ego where he's basically a black ops specialist that he does operations where he goes to make movies. And that's all you need to know. It's a big advertisement for the show.
So, for example, in this TV show world, he would go make the movie Bloodsport back in the day.
Yes.
But on the side, he's also working, deep undercover to do whatever, to infiltrate somebody,
like a heroin ring or something.
Yeah, so he's doing real like FBI work or whatever, FBI, whatever CIA work. CIA would be a better appropriate. He's doing real CIA work offset. It's kind of like the movie is a front for his real passion, which is like
kicking criminals'
covert
ass.
operations, kicking real criminals' asses.
Which is like, I hate to say this, like I don't want to gush over it, but I'm gonna gush. There's gushing today.
Yeah,
like this is gushing.
It's a great idea.
It's such a great idea. It's so funny and it works so well.
And we can describing it to you. You can't even do it justice because you just have to go out and see it. If you're not a member, if it's all exclusively on Amazon Prime.
It's free though. Can you watch the first episode?
If you're not a member of Amazon Prime, you can still watch it for free. They still give it to you for free. I watched it on my phone. They make you download their Underground app. It's called Amazon
app, right?
Underground.
Yeah.
But you don't have to sign your life away or anything. You just go boop 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 and you're in and you can watch it for free. So I highly recommend you do that before you listen to this episode or after you listen to the episode. There's no spoilers to be had. It's just one pilot.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to go moment by moment and say that was great, this was great, that was great.
Yeah.
That's not the point of this. The point is, like you said, give 5 reasons that we think you should watch this or this should be a show. But before we get into that, I do want to say, I know it's not a movie, but who cares?
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is a great actor in a lot of movies that we like, so we're going to talk about this anyway. I don't care.
You can't pigeonhole us, Drew. You can't pigeonhole us.
But
we're going to do what we want to do.
I love this show so much, and like I said, a couple people sent it to us on Twitter. We just had to talk about it. It's the perfect topic for on-demand episode.
Yeah.
So what's your first reason for why this should be made a show?
So number one of the top 5 reasons why this should be a show is the self-awareness aspect of Jean-Claude Van Damme and the route he's gone in his career over the past, I don't know, 5+ years.
You told me that you've seen JCVD, right? That's a feature film that came out. I don't know if that was a VOD or it was released in theaters. I never saw it, but it's been on my list forever.
Yeah, so we'll get more into that in the second step. But as far as the self-awareness of Jean-Claude himself, he's not taking himself too seriously. You see it in like commercials.
The Split commercial, the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. And the jokes that they take through shots at his career a little bit. You had mentioned that you kind of liken some of the jokes to Hot Shots in a way.
Yes.
So this is the type of comedy we're talking about. Not as ridiculous as Hot Shots, but kind of like they're throwing jokes at you. A lot of them are subtle, very subtle. Kind of like, oh yeah, like that kind of like it's not gut busting comedy.
It's not laugh out loud,
but
funny.
it's like it's kind of like it's smart dumb comedy. I don't know a better way to describe it.
No, Hot Shots is a good way. Loaded Weapon, it's that 90s spoof. Like, I keep saying this every week now. They don't make them like they used to. Well, they're starting to make them like they used to.
Yeah. So they kind of have a thing where Jean-Claude, he's retired, and so he wants to get back in the game just to meet up with his ex-girlfriend. So he has no training. He's been out of the game. He's like totally retired. So he calls his agent and tells his agent, I want to get back into this thing. Put me in a movie in Bulgaria. The movie is an action reimagining of Huck Finn. And,
which is amazing.
Yeah. So it's those types of jokes and then they actually show a scene of him filming Huck Finn, and it's super serious.
He has like the overalls.
Yeah, it's really well done. And those are the types of self-awareness that this show has the potential to like fully explore upon.
What's your second reason then?
So and then 2 ties into 1 is the extension of the JCVD character that he has created for himself over the past couple of years.
And that plays into what I was saying before.
Yeah, right.
So tell me a little bit about the movie JCVD. I know we're kind of talking about him, but tell me a little bit about the movie. How does that play into where he's taken his character? Yeah,
so the movie the movie is literally called JCVD. It was made maybe over 5 years ago, maybe more. Maybe closer to 10. I don't know how old I am anymore. I lost track of all time and space.
You're like 42, right?
I mean, yeah. So it's basically he plays himself, and he goes into, I believe it's a bank, and the bank starts getting robbed, and he's like himself, and everybody's like looking at him to do some cool shit, but he's like just a regular person. He's not,
because he's Jean-Claude Van Damme.
But he's not the man. Like he knows some shit, but he's not the man he is in the movies, right?
I like that he knows some shit.
Yeah. So and then the robbers start to they're like, oh man, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. So they're like fans.
Starstruck.
So he's just trying to play the nice guy while the cops try to do their thing. And then he gets to a point where he kind of realizes he has to do something. And then the movie takes a strange turn. I'm kind of babbling here.
No, you're not. You're describing the plot of the movie, which is
where he'll have this long soliloquy about his existence and his purpose in life.
So it's like existentialism.
Very existential, and it's very moving. So there's that whole movie, and then that whole movie, And then like you see him do interviews lately, and he's kind of like questioning who he is and what people expect of him, and the kind of like parody of himself that he's become, and like he kind of takes offense to it.
So was this released in theaters? You know,
I don't know. I don't think it was released in theaters, to be honest. But it's a well-respected direct-to-video movie.
I never seen it, and it's been on my list for a long time. And the way you described it, do you see a lot of similarities between that and this?
Yeah, it's like he's depressing. It's like he's very depressed. He's like seems to be in a depressed state. Like he's kind of like he's so famous and like he's heard it all. Like it's kind of like he's beaten down by
like he's over it.
Yeah,
he's over it.
Yeah,
but that's how, and that's the way this opens.
Yeah, and this is the kind of character that he plays. Now in a much more ridiculous like way. They kind of like take it to the nth degree.
Yeah,
starting with like his ridiculous home, where he has all the posters of all of his movies. The joke of all of the water and my plumbing is coconut water.
That was awesome.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like, of course, they take it to the ridiculous
but
degree.
It was, in the way that the show opens, it's like, it opens with this girl. Like, he clearly is heartbroken over something. You don't know what it is at that point.
He's depressed,
right? And he's depressed over his other girl. Like, she doesn't get, because he says, oh, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
His other girl gets it.
You never get it.
This person gets it.
You never get it.
But it's like the way that, and it'll play into some of the other points that we're going to get to, but his acting is phenomenal. I feel like he's very, very good.
He seems sad. Like he's playing it very well. And it's the level of acting that you don't see from him. But getting back on track, it's interesting to see the way like he kind of took his career, right?
Yeah.
Where he's kind of going in this direction of self-awareness.
Yes.
When you compare him to like the other three major actors from his era, like we're talking the main guys, Stallone, Segal.
So you're talking the Mount Rushmore of action,
the
80s, 90s.
The three S's.
Yeah.
Stallone, Stiegel.
Steven Segal. Steven Seagal. Yeah. Steven Seagal.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So all three of them have kind of played the twilight of their careers differently. Do you agree?
No, I do. And I'll tell you how I feel about all of them. Because I feel like we can break them down one by one.
Yeah.
So if you look at the way that Stallone took his career, and we've talked about this many times on the show, off the show, whatever. He's taken his own fortune and his own wealth to take the franchises and the properties that he owns to produce more of it.
Right.
Like, no one's really asking for it, but no one's going to complain about it either because, hell, yeah, I'll take another Rocky movie. Why not? Yeah, it's not bad.
2 more Rocky movies that we really needed, even though they're both good.
Yeah, nobody complained about it.
And the Expendables 1, 2, and 3.
Great movies.
I mean, they're fun to watch, but we didn't need them, right?
Right. And we've said this on the show before, too. They couldn't make those like they used to because it wasn't possible. Right. Because none of those guys would be in each other's movies because the budgets were like, you're paying these guys X amount of dollars. You need budgets for the special effects, for all this other stuff. And they didn't really cross over a lot. You know, they made the joke in Last Action Hero where, Stallone was in Terminator instead.
Yeah, right.
Like Arnold Braunschweiger sees the poster and it's Stallone as Terminator.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're either one or the other. But if you look at the way Stallone took his career, like we were saying, he took his money and kind of made these franchises, Expendables, Rocky, all these other movies, Rambo.
Yeah, he's producing all of his movies. It's what we call this, like when you have that one extra beer.
Yes.
You try to keep the party going.
Yeah.
When you're drunk and you shouldn't have that one extra beer, but you're kind of fading.
But I feel
so you have the next beer to keep the party going. This is what Stallone is doing.
See, but you could also make the mistake of having one too many beers. You kept the party going for too long.
Yeah.
And I feel that keeping the party going has actually worked for him pretty well. Like he's kept a consistent buzz throughout his career.
He has.
He's really successfully kept the party going. Whereas, let's talk about our other friend, Steven Seagal, who, he not only did he have an extra beer, he probably had a handle of like Stoli. He's drinking everything on the plane. Like he's got the little liquor bottles. Too much partying.
He's at the alcohol poisoning level of his career. Steven Seagal.
Go to the hospital, time to get your stomach pumped. And talking about Stallone versus Seagal, there's a clear difference. Like Seagal, it seems that Stallone is a pretty nice guy. People respect him in Hollywood. Seagal always had, and we've said it many times on this show, he has this aura about him. He has this attitude, kind of an ego, where he thinks he's more important than he is.
Right.
And I don't know him personally, so I can't say that for sure, but that's what I get, right? That's the vibe that you get.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
The feuding that he did with Van Damme.
And plus the multiple wives, the domestic abuse, and him treating people on set poorly,
being a
him
police
thinking his shit
officer
doesn't stink.
in Louisiana, talking
Right.
with a southern accent out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Wearing bomber jackets and tight jeans and penny loafers.
Yeah.
Maybe having clip-on ponytail.
The greatest musician of all time.
But that's what I'm saying, right? So he kept the party going for very too long.
Yeah.
Where he's VOD right now. They make the joke in the show like, "Oh, you're Nick Cage. You're Nick Cage retired VOD." Like, no, you're Steven Seagal VOD. They couldn't make that joke because Seagal would probably sue him because he takes himself too seriously.
You're not allowed to say his name, especially those two together. But
then Schwarzenegger, you've got Schwarzenegger, and I don't know how you view Schwarzenegger, but I look at him as he took the political route. He took a kind of a big break.
Right.
And now he's in anything because why not? Because it's fun. He likes making movies.
Yeah. I don't know his money situation. Maybe he's doing it for the money. I don't know. The new Terminator. You see him in all those commercials for those
the war games,
microtransaction games, the war games, and that's fine.
That's a violation, Arnold.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of messed up to see him that way, but it seems like he's doing a lot of things for fun, right?
Like, what's his level of keeping the party going? Like, he took a break, and now maybe he's doing the microtransactions because he's got to catch the buzz back up.
Yeah, but he's waking a little bit when he's doing this stuff too.
He is tongue in cheek because he doesn't care. He's just having fun.
He knows that people love him no matter what he does.
He's like the Brett Favre of like movie making. Like he's just having fun out there.
Here's the thing: the difference is JCVD. He knows that people want to like him. Like he has this thing about him, but he knows that he's not on that level of fame that Schwarzenegger is.
Right.
So he's going in the more artistic route, which you kind of have to do. Whereas Schwarzenegger's forever famous. Like he's like all time top 10 famous, right? So he's doing the wink. Like he's doing the wink and he's playing the crowd favorites. Even like based on his like a Snapchat his Snapchat account.
Like he just takes selfies of himself and he's like, look, a monkey. Ha ha.
Right. He's like he's doing Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Like he's doing it.
He is the character.
Yeah.
But I feel that and this show playing back into how does he change his career into the twilight of his career, right? As he's taken his acting a certain way. We're talking JCVD. These guys have kind of done their own thing. They were more famous. Back when these guys were making movies, you could argue before Seagal got a little weird.
Yeah.
Like they argued that Van Damme had no charisma. He didn't really speak without that thick accent, so people didn't really take onto his movies. He had some big releases, but he was always kind of like, I don't want to say he's the forgotten man, but he was the low man on the totem pole compared to all these other guys. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but also you could say that a lot of his movies were more martial artsy than the other three.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different genre, his style of action, that maybe it didn't fully appeal to the mass audience the way that the other three did as far as like commercial success goes.
I mean, you could say that Sudden Death, another episode of ours that you should go back and listen to, that was maybe more commercial appeal.
But there was not a lot of martial arts in
that's
that.
What I was getting at, right? Like he missed the opportunity to do a split. So he does a split in every movie.
Yes.
And he makes a save, but he does a kick save. Like, why did he not do a split save? I feel
it was a conscious choice.
He's probably like, don't pigeonhole me into the split guy.
I'm not some monkey to do splits at your will.
But I think that he was looked at differently at this time. So, as these guys were in these crazy blockbusters like Predator, Terminator, Rambo, all these other movies, Seagal kind of did his thing. He became more of a joke than anybody. Yeah. Van Damme to me, he always seemed like the forgotten man.
Right.
He just seemed like the forgotten guy. And now I feel like he's actually better than all of these guys right now.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that he starts to get the respect. No disrespect to those guys. It's just a different style of something.
Sport, like the hot take right here. He's the best actor.
He actually is.
He has the most acting talent of the four of them.
And you don't know until you watch something like this.
And
the other movie.
It took this long to really find that out. Right around the JCVD era and Expendables 2. Was Expendables 2 where he was the villain?
Yes.
Right, it wasn't 1, it was 2.
That movie, can we just talk about that movie for a second? That movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and he was the reason why it was awesome. The first one was like a good action movie. Uh-huh. The third one I haven't seen, heard it was very bland.
Yeah.
But the second one was good because of him.
Right.
It just what you're saying.
Yeah, so he kind of like kicked it up a notch because like I feel maybe either out of necessity or out of like I really got to like do something different here to like get to the last phase of my career kind of thing.
And he acts like it, the depressing thing works for him. Yeah. It works really well because he's a good pensive actor. Like when he's like staring off into space, introspective, the existentialism, it works well for him, very well. Yeah. Whereas these other guys they're just having another drink.
Right. So that's again, well, this is all under reason number 2.
It's the biggest reason.
Yeah, it's the expanding on the new JCVD, if you will. And I'm excited to see where it could go because he's got a lot going on.
So what's your reason 3?
3, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, the originality of the plot of this show, where it's based in reality, but at the same time, it's completely flipped around on you and is completely ridiculous.
And they're winking.
So how is it both realistic and ridiculous at the same time? I don't know how they did it, but they kind of, I don't know whose idea this was.
I was wondering if it was written by him because I thought, man, that would be a pretty cool thing if he wrote it.
I would hope so, but I don't think it was.
He didn't. There's another writer, and I don't know how this got pitched to Amazon. He was like the perfect actor. Like I don't think you could do this with anybody else.
Uh-huh.
And that's part of the originality of it. Like, I don't think that this would work with a lot of other people. They couldn't do it with Schwarzenegger. It's too big. They couldn't do it with Stallone. Like, he's the perfect person that this plays into because of the way his career went.
And it doesn't work with a fake guy. Like, if you have just a no-name actor, while on paper it seems like a good idea, it doesn't work unless you have your previous encounters with Van Damme.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work because you kind of remember, because you're thinking of Van Damme as a real person, but he's not a real person. He's playing himself, who's playing a guy who's a CIA agent.
But here's the thing. It's kind of believable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
In a weird way.
I would believe it. I think he can whoop someone's ass.
In a weird way, it's kind of believable. Yeah. It's like, all right, I can see this being there's some truth to this.
Yeah.
Like it's a novel idea, right? The originality of it, like you're getting at. The only other thing that I could say that maybe compares, and it's only in the style of shooting and the comedy, is Hot Shots. But it's not as over the top as Hot Shots was. Hot Shots was like, Hot Shots 1 and Part 2 was like, the way that they did it was so ridiculous and so over the top. Maybe Loaded Weapon, same thing. So over the top. Loaded Weapon is secretly like the underrated one because they took the saxophone and like, because what other movie does the saxophone thing? Like Lethal Weapon has that saxophone interlude playing at all times, and they take it up to like 11.
Yeah, and the love interest the whole movie ends up being his dog or something.
Oh, yeah. Like so ridiculous.
The way to take a joke for freaking 90 minutes, I swear to God.
They never show that on TV ever. Yeah. Sometimes they show Hot Shots, and it used to be on Netflix, but it's funny that it was Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, the brother duo in the two movies.
So, and rounding back around to the third reason that we're talking about why it should be made is for the originality, is these streaming services. You got to support shows like these to keep these creative juices flowing. There's a lot of shows on streaming services, especially Netflix, and Amazon to a lesser degree. It's less popular, but they have a lot of good original content as well, to where you can't do this on network TV because they're just going to shoot you down because all they care about is ad revenue. Shows like BoJack Horseman, for example.
Yeah.
Shows like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, where it's like too weird. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt was supposed to be on like CBS.
That would never work.
And it was shut down because it was too weird. So it went to Netflix. It was very successful.
But that's the interesting thing and the difference between the models, right? Amazon puts out a show and they put out a pilot. So they're testing things. So this is a pilot. And you can vote for this right now. You can vote whether you want them to make this a show. They did The Tick, too. It's a new one that they're coming out with. I know they did it with Hand of God or something.
Yeah.
It's the Ron Perlman show where he's a judge or something.
Yeah.
They did it with, I think, with Transparent, the show with Jeffrey Tambor.
Right.
Where I know that was like one of their first big like breakthrough hits because it was like a very interesting topic at the time. Netflix, they put out just everything at once. I think House of Cards was their big one right away.
Yeah.
And they've done it with other shows since. They try to do Game of Thrones, like a Marco Polo style show, which I actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
I haven't watched House of Cards yet, but I've heard that's excellent. I know Orange is the New Black is another great one.
Right, and into like even into documentaries like Making a Murder and stuff like that, and what we've been talking about for the last like month, Stranger Things, not here, but in on our personal lives.
Right.
How great was Stranger Things, right?
Dude, I finally watched it. We talked about it on our last episode a little bit, right? We kind of joke, like, and it's the joke, the theme of the episode, right? Without it being the theme of the episode, they don't make them like they used to. You know, they're starting to make them like they used to. You know what happened? Listening to the show.
You know what happened is you said it, and then they were like, "Yeah, you're right."
You know what? We don't make them like we used to. But Stranger Things is an excellent show, and I know everyone's talked about it ad nauseum, so we don't have to spend tons of time on it. But I think it's a perfect example of how they used to make them with obviously the time period and everything, but the spectacle of the show. You know, I think Super 8 was an example that I used in the past where it's like the Spielberg, like fantastical show. Like,
Almost like
the Goonies.
It's like a Stephen King almost.
Yes.
It had a Stephen King feel to it.
It had a Stephen King feel to it. It reminded me of like E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It reminded me a lot of the Goonies. And I feel like the casting was excellent. Like the script was good.
Relatively no name, weird looking kids, which helps it
because it's
grounded
real
in
life.
realism. Yeah. So I mean, like people have talked about Stranger Things, but maybe think about like the whole binge watching thing in general. And Stranger Things kind of got me thinking about like a mystery show, like in the vein of Lost.
Yes.
What if Lost was made by Netflix and you were able to binge watch entire series? Would that have like more? Would people look back at Lost with rose-colored glasses better than they do now? Because people seem to retroactively hate Lost.
So
have you felt that?
Yes, and here's the interesting topic, and I think you bring up a very interesting topic. Part of the fun of watching Lost to me was the fact that you could analyze the episode after. As much as you hate having a cliffhanger and having to wait till next week to watch something, part of the fun was seeing that shark go by with the logo of Dharma on it, or analyzing the numbers. You're looking it up on the internet when this stuff was out on like message boards and stuff. People were writing about all these kind of things. It was like watch parties, like let's see what happens next. If that was on Netflix, and it is right now, but if it was debuted on Netflix, and I know a lot of people who watched it for the first time on Netflix. I don't know. I'd love to know, like, is it better or worse? Well, I think season 3 would be better because it was shitty.
I'll tell you what though, I binge watched the first 2 seasons when I worked at Blockbuster. I got the DVDs, and that's how I watched the first 2 seasons, and I watched them in like a freaking 2 weeks, maybe all 24 episodes, or whatever it was. So there was no like I understand the mystery aspect of it, that it's great to go episode to episode, but I plowed through because it was so great. And yeah, season 3 was not as good, and that was the first season I watched episode week, all the way through. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Breaking Bad.
Yes.
But that actually had the opposite effect, where I plowed through the first 5.5 seasons or 4.5 seasons or whatever, and I watched the only one I watched live was the last half, and I loved watching one episode and taking a break.
That's what I was going to say to you. Did you like it better or worse? Because I was thinking about that with Stranger Things, to bring it back to Stranger Things and Lost and all these topics. You mentioned too about the retroactive hate. We talked about that a lot on the show. Yeah. Retroactive hate on Lost, absolutely 100% true. Everyone hates it now, but they loved it back in the day. Sure. So if you say you hate it now, I don't believe you.
Don't hate the journey. Just because you hate the end, don't hate the journey.
The end wasn't even that bad. It's like, get over it. Yeah. So, but coming back to Stranger Things and JCVD, kind of the overall theme of
back
things.
Together, yeah.
The thing about Stranger Things is, and I was thinking about this as we do podcasts, because we do an episode. There's other podcasts that do episodes on a TV show. Back when Game of Thrones is out, there's a lot of great Game of Thrones podcasts. Part of the fun of watching Game of Thrones is you watch the show, then you listen to the podcast, you analyze it. With Stranger Things, I almost found myself wishing that I could watch it week to week. There are some Stranger Things podcasts out there.
Right.
I haven't listened to any because it was too tempting to watch the next one.
It's kind of hard to go back to.
You can't. You kind of can't. So as much as I'd want to do that, it's difficult. And that show was it felt like an 8-hour movie, and it was just done so well. Right. I think it worked in the 8 hours. It might have been different if it was a week to week show.
True. Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm rambling on this, but back to JCVD, would this work in a binge watching, I guess, fashion?
Yeah, this is totally a binge worthy show. And I'm sorry, we kind of segued there, but it gets back to the point where a lot of shows, especially like network shows, for example, not a whole lot of originality to them.
And you mentioned it before. It's like the ad revenue is so dependent that people and the major network shows, and this stuff would never work on there. And that's why I love the fact that these companies like Amazon and Netflix and even Hulu is doing a little bit of it. They're having the balls to go and put this stuff out there, because why the hell not?
And people were calling this like the golden age of TV, quote unquote, right? And I think it's kind of on the downslope now. And because like, what do we got? Like the main shows are still like The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, whereas like they're still good shows, but they're not refreshing anymore. And many of the network shows, ABC, Fox, CBS, it's all crap now. The only good things you're getting is like Americans on Fox, FX, a lot of FX shows, and
Fargo,
and HBO, and that's really it. Showtime, which can also be binge. A lot of people don't subscribe to HBO or Showtime, and they'll just wait or maybe they'll subscribe for a month and plow through a show of their choice.
I think you're right, though. I think the TV stuff is winding down a little bit, but Netflix is ramping it up.
Except for Netflix and Amazon, those streamings. That's my point. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing my point.
But you're right, though. I think and
exactly.
HBO, I put kind of in the streaming services because it's a premium.
You can
service.
wait and binge watch it. It's right there for you.
Right, and I think that's what is so exciting about this type of show. To bring it back to JCVD, you would never see this anywhere else. You'd never see this on ABC. Maybe you'd see it on Comedy Central. Maybe I don't even know if you would see it there. But Amazon is awesome for putting this out there, and I'm hoping that people go and vote for this thing because I would love to see a full season of this thing.
Yeah.
It's just so fun. It was a fun show, and anyone that listens to our show, the Last Row Podcast, you know that this is just, it's in our alley, like completely.
Yeah.
It's the action stuff, the tongue in cheek, the just ridiculous over the top action jokes from the 80s. It's so perfect. So obviously I'm gushing over this. Yeah. So I'm going to let you give me the next reason.
Let's keep on going. We'll go plow through. We're already probably, we said at the beginning, it was probably going to be like a 20-minute episode. Yeah, right. It's probably like 45 minutes
it's
in.
Never 20 minutes. It's never 20 minutes.
Hopefully people still lost it.
Give me your fourth reason.
So the fourth reason is, we touched on it, the phenomenal acting in this pilot, which surprised me. I didn't expect it to be well acted. And this goes back to JCVD really trying.
He dialed it up, man. Yeah. He dialed it up.
And not just him, all of the side characters as well.
I thought the casting was good too. Yeah. Like the guy with the weird dreads, that guy was funny as hell. Yeah. The girl was really good. His agent slash
the quote unquote like makeup assistant slash love interest.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then like the agent,
the
slash,
prop guy, slash the Rastafari looking guy. Yeah,
he like puts this ridiculous disguise on him. It's so weird.
Yeah, the director that has like the infinity scarf or whatever.
He's vaping.
Yeah,
he's like, I directed hamsters. And
here we are listing things that you just need to go see for yourself. Yeah. But what I'm saying is like even throwaway characters like a waiter in a ramen only bar. In the beginning of the episode, it's it's great acting. It almost seems like it almost seemed improvish. I didn't know if it was fully scripted or not, but like everyone's stepping their game up, and this is like it seems like they really went for it.
I totally agree with you. So we'll do the fifth reason, then we'll recap them all. But what's your fifth reason for why people should watch or why we should make this a show?
The limitless creative opportunities for the script week to week. So we saw in this episode him just hop on a plane, get back in the game, and go work on an action spin on a Tom Sawyer story,
like Bulgaria.
Right? Yeah, to work on Tom and Huck, where it's like he's Huckleberry Finn, and we find out that Tom Sawyer is his hot girlfriend that he has to defend from this evil, what's his name?
Oh my god, yeah. And he's wearing the overalls, and he put like before he starts getting in the fight, he puts like the hat on,
straw hat. Yeah,
it reminds me a lot of, I mentioned Last Action Hero earlier.
Yeah,
do you remember when the kid's daydreaming and he has the dream of Arnold Schwarzenegger as Hamlet?
Exactly,
and he's like, "Hey, Claudius," and he like, to be or not to be, not to be.
Like there could be, every episode could be a new movie that he's working on. Like this doesn't have to be a serial show. It could be week to week. It could be a different movie every week. You could have a different villain every week, and if it is the same movie every week, you could have a different villain. Like half of the film was I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm so excited.
No, it's an exciting topic here. Just keep going.
Yeah. Half of the episode was him like getting back in the game. The other half was him on the movie set and then going on to actually infiltrate the real CIA operative mission that he had to do. So each mission could be, you could have a different guest spot for a villain. Maybe a surprise Val Kilmer showed up one time.
That would be amazing.
Or, I don't know, anybody. It could be anybody.
And I love how you mentioned a couple things there. The piece about when he went from the action set of the movie to the actual, infiltration of the place that he needed to go. Like, it was self-aware. It made jokes about his other movies. There was a time cop joke in there. There was jokes about him fighting one guy at a time. Like, it's
flashbacks where he has the
hard, what is it? Hard target?
The hard target hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had like the giant mullet. It was awesome. And he was wearing like the tight jeans, like the jokes about him doing splits. It was so well done, and I'm sitting here gushing myself, right? Because I'm so excited about this, and I'm just so glad that it exists. Even if they don't make it, it's hilarious.
See, here's the thing to take away from this. I wouldn't be forcing this, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. I love action movies in general, especially from the 80s and 90s. But if this was a piece of crap, or if this was kind of good, we wouldn't be having this episode.
No, and I think that's why we decided to do it for On Demand, right? Because if you haven't seen it or you have seen it, you want to appreciate it.
We want to spread awareness. If you listen to this show and you like the show, we're not producers of the show. We're not getting a piece of this action, all right? Go watch the pilot.
Every play we get
and they literally want you to tell them that you like it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I voted for it.
You got to vote for it. You physically vote for it, and if it gains enough popularity, they will push this pilot through and make a season.
But like, think about what you just said there. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
Like, you and me and everyone that listens to this show and everybody that has an Amazon account, you have the chance to say, make this.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Right.
Like, I'm having that mind-blowing moment.
This
of
is
like,
the future.
We have a say in what content gets created. We don't have to watch CSI Las Vegas 100 times.
Yeah.
We don't have to watch another CSI Nevada, like whatever, CSI Miami. Any of these shows, good. Let CBS make them. But we have the chance to vote on stuff like this. It's original. It's fun. It's a great show.
Let me ask you this question. The people that are, let's, I don't want to be like ageist or whatever, an ageist. Is that the way you say it?
I guess an ageist.
Right. So the people that don't know how to stream their content, right?
Yeah.
So they just watch CBS, Fox,
Right.
You know, all those. When they're dead and gone, right?
Yeah.
Say like,
You're talking the new generation.
yeah, 20, 30 years from now, where they're out of the game, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like our generation, the younger generation coming up becomes our age,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So everybody's gonna be watching their stuff streaming or something cool that we don't even know about yet, right?
Right.
Are a CSI and like those types of shows, those episodic like cop shows and those pieces of crap that like really don't try hard, those shows, are they gonna exist anymore?
No, I think they will, and here's why.
You think?
Because
will network TV become extinct? Is my question.
I don't know if it'll become extinct. It may shrink, or maybe there won't be as many of those. But there's a reason why they exist, and it's not just that generation. There's definitely people that, and I've watched some of those before too. Like it's a, I don't want to say lazy. It's not a lazy show, but it's something you can just throw on, and you don't have to like think too much.
I guess.
And there's something nice about that too. But I do agree with you. I think they will start to go away because this stuff's going to take over.
Right.
People want this type of content now. But I do think it will always exist in some capacity.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Just a thought.
Do you disagree? I don't know. What do you
No,
think?
I don't disagree. I'm just throwing it out there.
And they're not like awful shows by any means. It's just, it's not like what is it? House was like an example. I know that's like a very popular show. It was kind of like a hybrid of these, right? Like the CSI thing got replicated across every city in America, like CSI Miami, CSI New York, all this other stuff, NCIS. That thing. So you either have a cop show or a hospital show. Those are the two.
Fire department show.
They'll always be that, no matter what.
Like Bones is on its like 13th season or whatever.
Yeah,
like who's watching Bones?
I mean,
but enough people are.
They're popular for a reason. I mean, I haven't watched them myself, but like I guess you could argue the same about 24, right? Like, 24 has been on forever. Why the hell did they need another one? Yeah. And it's the network. It's because advertisers need something they can hedge their bet on, and you're watching Fox on a Tuesday night at 8:00. Like, it's ad revenue. You nailed it earlier in the show, and I think that's why it will never go away.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thought that I wanted to go away. That's fine. You can have it.
So do a recap real quick of your 5 reasons, because I think we went through them kind of staggered, but read them real quick.
Self-awareness, extending the reality of the JCVD character, his new and improved kind of melancholy way, the originality of the topic, the surprisingly great acting,
surprisingly excellent,
great, and the limitless creative opportunities that arise from possibilities of the script.
And I think that's a great way to kind of leave it, because it's just very well done. I don't know what else more we could say about it. Just go out and watch it, and if you like it, vote for it. If you don't like it, okay.
If you don't like it, vote for it, because like we want to see it. So do us a favor.
Do me a favor and vote for it anyway. Help me out, bro.
It's not going to hurt you if they make it, right? You don't have to watch it.
But I think they should. So
I guarantee they're going to like it. If they like our show and they like the types of movies that we like, they're going to love this show. Do yourself a favor. How funny would it be if we actually were paid by Amazon? And this is just a sponsored episode, right?
Sponsored.
They'll never know.
I know.
They'll never know.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme's in my closet over here. I need to put the $1 Million Man sound behind there. Everybody's
got a price, Drew. We all have a price.
Another thing, before we wrap up,
let's loosen this thing up a little bit, right?
Let's loosen up. It's getting a little steamy in here, by the way. It's getting a little steamy. It's Valentine's Day's coming up. They don't make them like they used to, except they made this like they used to a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
51 Shades of Grey.
51 Shades of Grey.
It's 50 grayer shades.
It's gray blue this time.
Whatever color.
Like he has blue balls because she broke up with him, so it's blue gray.
Like it's so blue that it's turning gray.
It's blue gray. It's blue gray balls.
It's so bad.
That's the colon.
So
50 shades darker colon blue balls.
You know,
Writes itself.
you could write it. I mean, we watched the trailer before the show. We got to start doing trailer reaction videos.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll do it on the Instagram thing, wherever you want to do it. I don't know. But I think we should do it coming up. But this one, we watched the trailer before we watched this. I want to speculate on what this is about. Now, coming from two guys who did know nothing about this movie.
We didn't read the books, all right? We have no idea what's coming.
I read some Wikipedia pages, and that's all I know. And whatever research we did for the first one, back last Valentine's Day, go listen to our episode. I'm pretty excited about this movie, Bad Way.
Oh, yeah. It looks fantastic in all the wrong ways.
And I hope people understand what I mean when I say I'm pretty excited about how terrible this looks.
So we had a conversation among ourselves. It was a brief, like 2-second conversation. Are we allowed to go to the movies and watch this
Absolutely
together?
not. Especially since it's on Valentine's Day. Like, we can't. Like, it would just be too weird.
Yeah.
But I would... If you wanted to, I would do it with you. I would. I'll have to ask my wife if I'm allowed to have a Valentine's Day date with you.
We'll have to make reservations.
You got to buy the tickets online. But I would watch this, but we can't watch it in the theater.
It's not going to happen.
It would be a little weird.
It's not going to happen. But
what do you think is going to happen based on what you saw in this trailer?
So we have questions based on just the visuals of this trailer, which was a great trailer, by the way. Lots of intrigue, lots of heat.
I'm expecting people to turn the episode off right now.
Any questions? No. They care. So they open up, and he has a present.
Like, what is in that box?
What's in the box? They don't show what's in the box. Is it Gwyneth Paltrow's head? We don't know. We don't know. Could be.
It's like he
could be his dick in a box. We don't know.
This dude is like... This dude is so mysterious. He probably has literally 10 lines in the script completely, because that's what he does. All he does is stare, And Charlie Hunnam inadvertently ruined his own career by not doing this movie.
Yeah, what's he doing now?
He was doing some movie about King Arthur.
He's banging on Kurt Sutter's door to do that prequel to Sons of Anarchy.
He was in Pacific Rim, and then he's not going to be doing the second one.
He got Vinny chased out of Pacific Rim.
Maybe he should have done this.
He got Vinny chased.
He probably should have done this.
Yeah, he should have.
And we would see, but this guy, the actor that they pick for Christian Grey, I'm not going to say it was bad casting. He's just a creep. Total creep.
So in the box, is it a new boob smusher?
No, it's a butt spanker.
Is it a butt whipper? What is it?
He's got to get more stuff for his room of tricks. No, but I think it's a mask.
It's the mask, probably, right?
It's a mask.
So cut to the scene where they're in masks, him and the girl, was it Don Johnson's daughter, right?
How weird is that for Don Johnson?
Hey, at least it ain't real porn.
He goes from Miami Vice to, what's that other show? Nash Bridges. To freaking 50 Shades of Grey's dad is what he is.
He should play her dad in the movie.
That would be so weird. Yeah. He takes her to this masquerade ball.
Not her dad, Christian Grey.
Her dad takes her to the masquerade ball. No,
so we're led to believe illegal. This is going to be an orgy scene,
it's like
right?
Eyes Wide Shut. Total
you got to
Kubrick.
step it up, right?
I don't get what's going on in this. And
I get exactly what's going on in this. Looking at this trailer, it looks like an exact copy of the first movie, where she's playing hard to get. Where she's broken up with him in the beginning of the movie. Where at the beginning of this movie, she was kind of didn't want anything to do with him because he was kind of scary, didn't know what to do. So it's like she's going to play hard to get. Then they're going to get together. They're shown making passionate love in the shower with their clothes on.
They took it up a notch, didn't they?
But that's very reminiscent of the first time they got together, right? So it's this is the same movie. And what about remember the helicopter scene? What'd they do this time?
Speedboat, or some type of boating.
So
activity.
They're on a huge yacht or boat or whatever.
He's got to flash his money.
Yeah, instead of the helicopter scene where the "Love Me Like You Do" came blasted on.
I was going to sing it, but you have a much better, more beautiful voice than I do.
What are you waiting for?
You have a much more beautiful.
So this movie is it's like Speed 2, right?
But I guess
Speed 2 had a boat, like Shades 2 has a boat.
From what I took from it, it looks like they're broken up, and he needs to get with them.
Yeah.
Then there's some weird ass ghost girl that's just haunting her.
It's a sex ghost.
Who the hell is that? Is it he made love to her so hard that her passion was imprinted?
He banged her to death. Is that what happened?
Can we say that on the show?
The girl says the line to Dakota Johnson. She says to her, "You think you're the first one he's done this to?" He's talking about she might get banged to death. Literally.
He's a murderer.
He's a murderer. His penis is like a registered weapon. You know, like they say, like Mike Tyson's fists are like registered weapons, deadly weapons.
How is this guy not on the sex offender list, by the way? Total freaking creep.
He used the butt whipper too hard.
And you know what else is in this besides the sex ghost?
Yeah.
The passion just rippled in time there. Just like, you know what they say? Like somebody dies a traumatic death. That's how a house got haunted.
Yeah.
Like, that's how she's
in this very room.
Like how many sex ghosts are in his freaking like his torture chamber?
They talk about skeletons in closets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is literal.
He's got some skeletons. But who else is in this? His freaking sex teacher.
His sex teacher.
His teacher.
What if she banged him so hard Christian Grey's a ghost all along?
That's what I mean.
What if I just broke the trilogy? Like in the third one at the end, you're going to find it's like Bruce Willis. You find out at the end he's a ghost.
He's his own sex ghost.
Because his sex teacher banged him to death.
It's Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
Freaking Vicky Vale from Batman. Like, you know, it's so weird. Like, so she's in this, and basically, you know, she freaking assaulted it. She should be in jail.
Yeah.
Why is she not in jail?
She statutory raped him. He was like 13.
Yeah. He was like 13 years old at the time. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
What's up with that? So she's in this.
It's your classic male-female swap scenario.
So it's like you've got Dakota Johnson not loving this dude.
No.
He loves her. The sex ghost shows up.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kim Basinger. Maybe she's going to try to pull him back in because she misses him.
We should write this movie.
That's what I'm saying.
We should write this book.
52 Shades of Grey. Let's write it.
So obviously, the sex ghost is probably just an ex-girlfriend who tried to change him.
I have no idea.
But we're going to go with sex ghost.
It looked like a kid though. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like,
they went creepy young for the
you
casting.
can't have that in
They
this
went creepy
movie.
young. And so he's like, he may have like stopped being a businessman because he's so torn up about losing the girl, losing
Like,
Dakota.
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Like, is he still the head of Grey Industries?
Yeah.
Like, is he still
I think
the
he's
CEO?
taking a sabbatical. Like, he's a mess. And when we say he's a mess, we mean that he has like stubble.
He had the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah. So he's not shaving anymore.
And
it's
this
serious.
This is like Mr. Clean Cut
Yeah,
Christian
it's serious.
Grey. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I got to shave every day because I'm the CEO. Like, I sit in an office with pencils with my name on it.
Yeah.
What the hell does he actually do? We never know.
He just makes the pencils.
Will we find out? Will we ever find out what this guy does?
We'll never know.
He's like, oh, it's complicated. But I just need to know, and I can't wait to see this movie because it looks so awful.
It's not going to be as good as we're saying it is right now, unfortunately.
I like to watch the version that we.
Yeah, we need to make this movie. It's going to end up being a Cinemax porno. Like what we think sounds great ends up going to look like Cinemax porno.
And I mean,
even though this movie was a Cinemax porno.
Like, and I know we talked about this at length on our episode on it. So again, I mentioned shameless plug. Go back and listen to it. How is this being made? How did they make this and put it in the theater?
The ladies love it.
It's a 11 o'clock on a Saturday night Cinemax movie.
The ladies love it, man.
That's all I'll say. And I can't wait to watch it. I'm sitting here saying, I can't wait to watch it.
50 Shades Darker, sex ghost.
So we said, you know, we joked about this was going to be like a 20-minute episode, and we're on like hour 6 here, right? So, you know, if you want to write in and tell us about your own personal sex ghosts, you know, you can write to us, the Last Row Podcast at gmail.com. You know, tweet us about your sex ghosts at the Last Row Pod. Any other way you want to get in touch with us, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/the Last Row Pod. iTunes, thank you to everybody that's gone out and left us an iTunes review. If you haven't had the chance to search for the Last Row Podcast on iTunes, hit that 5-star review, hit the subscribe button. Much appreciated to everybody. Thank you so much. And if there's anything else, shoot us an email, and we'll see you guys next week.
Blue! Do you have any sex ghosts?
I don't know. Maybe in our old apartment. I don't know.
Like, I'm not saying like you actually murdered someone, but like, you know, maybe like you moved into this house and there's a sex ghost. I don't know. I'm just asking.
Was it built over an ancient